In the heart of Lagos, where the streets bustled with life, there lived a girl named Zara. She was an orphan raised in an overcrowded home where kindness was scarce. Though she had a roof over her head, she often felt invisible like a shadow, drifting through life. Every day was the same. Wake up, do chores, and stare out of the window, watching others laugh, dream, and live. But something changed when she got admission into the university. It was as though life had finally given her a gift, a chance to escape the dull, colorless world she had always known. She was excited, not just for education, but for the freedom it promised. A tea school. Zara made friends, Sarah and Naomi. They were lively, always talking about weekend trips, boys, and fun. Zara admired them, but felt like outsider, like she wasn't interesting enough to fit in. One day, as Valentine's weekend approached, her friends were bubbling with excitement about traveling home for the celebration. They invited Zara, but she had nowhere to go. "Why don't you come with us?" Sarah asked. "I don't have money for transport," Zara mumbled. Sarah waved her off. "You can just stay back in school then." Alone. That word, alone, hit Zara hard. She had been alone all her life. And now, with her new friends gone, she would be lonely again. She swallowed her sadness and forced a smile. "I'll be fine." That night, while scrolling through social media, she got a message from James. He was a handsome older guy who had been chatting with her for weeks. He always sent sweet messages, calling her beautiful and special words she had never heard before. When she told him about her lonely weekend, he said, "Come see me. I promise you'll have fun." Zara hesitated. She had never done anything like that before. But then a voice in her head whispered, "What's the worst that could happen?" The next day, she boarded a taxi and traveled across the city to meet him. His house was in a rich estate, and when she arrived, everything about him seemed perfect. His deep voice, charming smile, and the way he looked at her like she was the most beautiful girl in the world. At first, it was fun. They watched movies, laughed, and ate. But as the night deepened, James became different. His hands lingered too long, his voice grew heavier, and soon one thing led to another. The next morning, a loud scream jolted Zara from her sleep. It was James, staring at her with wide, horrified eyes. "What's wrong?" she asked, her voice groggy. He pointed at her face. "Your face. What happened to your face?" Confused, Zara rushed to the bathroom mirror. Her reflection made her gasp in terror. Overnight, her once smooth skin had been taken over by thick, raised keloids, spreading across her face like a cruel curse. She touched her cheeks, trembling, her heart pounding in her chest. "No, no, no," she whispered. Zara turned to James for help, but his face was already twisted in disgust. "Get out," he shouted. Tears blurred her vision as she stumbled out of the house. The sun was shining brightly, but inside, she felt like darkness had swallowed her whole. Zara ran to the streets of Lagos, her heart pounding in her chest. The stares from passers-by burned into her skin, their whispers slicing through her like a knife. What happened to her face? Did she get burned? She looks cursed. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but she kept running, trying to escape the nightmare her life had become. When she reached her hostel, she locked herself inside, hoping that sleep would erase everything. But the next morning, the keloids were still there, thick and ugly. Desperate, she rushed to the hospital. The doctor examined her face, his expression unreadable. "We don't understand this," he finally said. "This isn't a typical skin reaction. It's almost as if what?" Zara asked, her voice shaking. As if this wasn't caused by any medical condition, Zara felt her knees weaken. "Please help me. Give me something, anything." The doctor sighed. "We'll try some treatments, but I can't guarantee anything." Days turned into weeks. Nothing worked. Every cream, every injection, every prayer, nothing changed. The keloids remained, a permanent mark of her shame. Then, as if fate had not punished her enough, Zara started feeling sick. She threw up every morning, felt dizzy, and soon the test confirmed it. She was pregnant. Zara collapsed onto the cold hospital floor, her body shaking with sobs. She had no family, no support, and now she was carrying the child of a man who had thrown her out. Like garbage. She tried calling James, but his number was blocked. He had erased her. Just like that, life became unbearable. The whispers at school turned into outright bullying. No one wanted to sit next to her in class. Even her lecturers avoided looking at her. Her friends, Sarah and Naomi, were worried. "You should just drop out," Naomi sneered one day. "No one wants to see that." That was the last time Zara stepped foot in class. With no money and no support, she took on menial jobs. She washed clothes, swept shops, and carried heavy loads at the market, all while her belly grew. Every night, she cried herself to sleep, praying for a miracle. When her son was finally born, she named him David, because he would be her only victory. David looked exactly like his father, but Zara loved him fiercely. Years passed, and Zara worked tirelessly to provide for David. She became strong, but the world remained cruel. People still avoided her. Parents warned their children not to go near her. Some even whispered that she was a witch. One evening, after a particularly bad day, she sat on her small mat, staring at her sleeping son. "God, why did you let this happen to me?" she whispered. "Why am I suffering like this?" That night, something strange happened. In her sleep, a bright light filled her tiny room, and a voice echoed through her mind. "Zara, the curse was never yours." She turned and saw an angel standing before her, his face filled with sorrow. "You were cursed long ago by the man who defiled you as a child. He marked you for destruction, using you for rituals." Zara gasped. "What? But I don't remember." "The pain made you forget. But the curse has shaped your life ever since." Zara fell to her knees, her hands trembling. "Is there no way to break it?" The angel smiled gently. "You have suffered enough. Your time of restoration has come." With that, he touched her face, and a warmth unlike anything she had ever felt spread through her body. And then everything went dark. Morning sunlight streamed into Zara's small room, warming her skin. She stirred, feeling different, lighter, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. Then she heard a gasp. "Mommy?" David's small voice trembled. Zara blinked awake. Her son stood at the edge of the mat, staring at her with wide eyes. His lips parted, confusion etched across his face. "Mommy?" he whispered again, stepping back. Zara frowned. "David, what's wrong?" He shook his head. You don't look like my mommy." Her heart pounded. Slowly, she got up and rushed to the small cracked mirror on the wall. What she saw stole her breath away. Her face, the keloids were gone. Her skin was smooth, flawless. It was as if the years of suffering had been wiped away overnight. Zara ran her fingers over her cheeks, disbelief filling her heart. Tears welled in her eyes. "God, you healed me." She fell to her knees, weeping. She had prayed for so long, begged for mercy. And now her suffering had ended. From that day, everything changed. People in the neighborhood, who once avoided her, now looked at her with shock and curiosity. She walked freely, without shame. With new confidence, she applied for a job at a bank, and to her surprise, she was hired. Zara and David moved into a small apartment. Life wasn't perfect, but for the first time, it was peaceful. Then one fateful afternoon, everything changed again. It was the weekend, and David had been begging to go swimming. "Please, Mommy, I want to swim. Everyone in my class goes to the pool, but I never go." Zara smiled. "Okay, fine. Just this once." David screamed with excitement and dashed towards the car. When they arrived at the pool, the place was crowded. Children splashed. Parents relaxed under umbrellas, and laughter filled the air. Zara found a seat in a quiet corner, watching David run towards the water. But just as he reached the edge, he collided into someone. David stumbled back, blinking up at the man he had run into. The man froze. His heart stopped as he stared at the boy in front of him. He wasn't just looking at a child. He was looking at himself, his own face, his own features staring back at him. Zara looked up just in time to see the color drain from the man's face. It was James, the father of her child. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. The world around them seemed to blur. Then James looked at Zara, really looked at her. His mouth opened in shock. "Zara?" She stood, her heart pounding. "Yes, James. It's me." He couldn't believe it. The last time he had seen her, she had been scarred, broken, and rejected. But now, she was a woman transformed. His gaze flickered to David again. He swallowed hard. "Is he mine?" Zara hesitated, then sighed. "Yes." James dropped to his knees, his eyes brimming with emotion. He reached for David's hand, but the boy pulled back, confused. Tears filled James' eyes. "I'm sorry," he whispered. I didn't know what I did to you." Zara crossed her arms. "You abandoned me, James. You left me to suffer while you lived your life. I was a fool," he admitted, "a coward. But seeing you, I know I was wrong." Zara said nothing. Then David did something unexpected. He stepped forward and touched James' face. "Are you my daddy?" James' breath hitched. "Yes, I am." David studied him for a moment, then in a soft voice, he said, "Okay." That single word broke James completely. He pulled the boy into his arms, holding him tight as tears streamed down his face. From that day, James did everything to make up for the past. He spent time with David, proving his love. He apologized to Zara over and over, never demanding forgiveness, but hoping for it. Months later, on a quiet evening, James knelt before Zara with a ring. "I know I don't deserve another chance, but if you'll let me, I want to be a father to David. I want to be a husband to you. I want to love you the way I should have from the start." Tears filled Zara's eyes. She looked at David, who grinned. "Say yes, mommy." And for the first time in a long time, Zara smiled. She had survived, she had been restored, and now she had found love again. But more importantly, she had learned that life is full of tests and trials. And while some wounds come from the choices we make, others come from places we do not understand. Yet, no matter how dark the journey, there is always hope for healing, redemption, and second chances. She had suffered, but her story proved that even the most broken people could rise again. She had once begged for acceptance, but now she knew. Her true worth had never been in how others saw her, but in how she saw herself. Dear viewers, what lessons did you take away from this dramatic tale? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed the story, give us a thumbs up, share it with friends, and hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss out on our latest updates. Thanks for watching, and stay blessed.